How do you vote for someone who says, if I win, it was a fair election? If I lose, Kamala Harris and her buddies fixed it. That's delusional. That you can't have that, and you can certainly not storm the Capitol when you're the sitting president of the United States.
In America, we call that a sore loser. And in this case, this is someone who has already lost, which would say that they are actually already a loser.
Kamala Harris isn't holding back. In a recent chat with Howard Stern, she's calling out Donald Trump. Yeah, you heard that right. The vice president herself went on the record, labeling Trump as a sore loser. And according to her, he's also getting punked. So, let's break down what Harris is saying here.
This is what keeps me up at night. I don't understand how my fellow Americans, I don't even understand how this election is close. And yes, I'm voting for you, but I would also vote for that wall over there rather than a guy who says, where do I begin? A guy who says he doesn't support Ukraine wouldn't get on that stage with you and say, I support Ukraine. And why do my fellow Americans want this kind of chaos overseas? Why?
To your point, doesn't support our friend Ukraine, doesn't support, therefore, something America should always, and has always, by the way, been a champion of, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity, which means the importance of standing against anyone who tries to take another nation by force.
Right.
That's what we stand for as Americans, that you don't do that. And if you do that to our friends, we're going to stand with our friends. You're getting played. And some would say, look, I grew up in the neighborhood. Some would say you're getting punked.
Yeah.
If you stand in favor of somebody who's an adversary over your friends on principles that we all agree on.
First off, she's not just throwing out these words casually. She's pointing out that Trump's refusal to accept the 2020 election results isn't just about being a bad sport. She's implying that his stubbornness, his absolute refusal to concede, is putting him in a position where he's being, manipulated, punked, as she calls it. Imagine Trump, the guy who loves being in control,
hard for you
getting played.
To make a love connection with Doug, because I would think most men would be intimidated by you.
My husband, Doug, is one of the strongest, most self-actualized men I've known.
You loved him right away, or was it a slow build?
I did. But he worked for everything he has. And he has the best sense of humor. He's really clear. He cares about family. He cares about working hard.
Like, how do you meet him?
So we met on a blind date. My best friend set us up. I feel very fortunate to have a husband who is he's just secure in his skin. He's not trying to be anything he's not.
That's what Kamala's saying. And Howard Stern, he's loving this. You can almost picture him leaning in, egging her on, with that trademark mischievous grin of his. Now, it's no secret that Trump's been vocal, to say the least, about the election.
My God, have you been to this fair?
I'm troubled by it.
Well, let me just say, basically, everyone should go in with a clear head.
Isn't it too much?
But that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Like, definitely go in.
You mean don't be high?
Correct.
Right.
Because it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of visual stimulation.
Yeah.
And then I love you too. It was a surprise for Doug.
He's out there claiming the whole thing was rigged, stolen, you name it. But Harris's take, she's saying, look, these actions are making him look like a fool. And here's where it gets interesting. She's not alone in this view.
Why do you like Formula One? These guys driving around the cars over and over again in a circle.
It's so good.
You really love that.
We love it. Our whole family does.
It's not a campaign
thing. No, God, no,
wow.
No. Well, I haven't been able to watch it a lot recently because I am campaigning. Because, also depending on where they're driving, the time of day, you got to wake up.
Who is your favorite driver?
Lewis Hamilton, of course.
I don't even know who that is.
He's leaving Mercedes. You don't know? You don't watch Formula One? No.
I mean,
once you start, I think you should see it. You might get hooked.
Plenty of people on both sides of the aisle are tired of the drama. They're saying, enough already, move on.
Can you imagine if your mother was alive
Yeah,
and saw her daughter running for president of the United States?
I miss her every day.
She was something, huh?
Yeah, she was very special. All 5 feet of her. You would have loved her. If you met her, you would have thought she was 6 feet tall.
When she worked in a chemical lab and she worked on developing cures for breast cancer,
Correct.
you would go with her as a little girl
Yeah.
and clean the test tubes.
That was my first job.
And Harris, she's speaking for them. She's taking a stance. This is a bold move, especially for a sitting vice president. She's not playing it safe, not dancing around the issue. Nope, she's laying it all out there. And by calling Trump a sore loser, she's hitting him where it hurts, right in the ego. But let's be real. Trump's fans are probably not going to love this. They might see it as just another attack from the current administration. And for Trump himself, well, he's likely to respond. You can bet he'll have something to say about this, maybe even fire off a social media post or two. It's what he does. Harris's message, though, is clear: move on, focus on the future. And whether you love her or hate her, she's making a point here that resonates with a lot of Americans. Many are ready to turn the page on 2020 and look ahead. They're tired of rehashing the same old arguments. So, is Kamala Harris just adding fuel to the fire? Or is she speaking a truth that more people need to hear? Whatever your political views, one thing's for sure: this exchange is going to keep people talking. And that, my friends, might just be the point.